The Cheeseboy628 Show, starring Cheeseboy628.
Hey YouTube, what's going on? This is Cheeseboy628 here today giving you an OUT or Wi-Fi battle and... Wait, what's that music in the background? That is not normal. That is not a part of my weekly schedule of music. Oh, could that possibly be a new beat made by my buddy Neutral Proton, foreshadowing a future song that I will upload for you guys? I guess so. So I hope you enjoyed this beat, and hopefully you guys will be excited for a future song that I'm going to upload for you guys. Also be sure to check out his channel after the battle, link in the description. Anyway, getting on to this team preview here, this versus my buddy Gaaraotd23, check him out, also in the description. Now check this out, I have a new team too, there's just new stuff everywhere today. Anyway, to fulfill my Firewater Grass Core, I've got my Timid Life Orb Starmie, Physically Defensive Heatran, Scarf Rotom Cut, Specs Kyurem, Sub 3 Attacks Gengar, and Specially Defensive Florges. Now looking at my opponent's team, he's definitely got some threats. He's got a really cool defensive core of Physically Defensive Weezing and Specially Defensive Blissey, or so I assume, and then he has a bunch of really offensive threats. Now, if you notice at my team, it's completely composed of special attackers. And guess what he decides to bring? Mother freaking Blissey. And the only ways I have of countering this Blissey is number 1, Psyshock on my Life Orb Starmie, which I'm not sure how much it'll do, and number 2, Trick on my Rotom Cut. So I have to be very careful because you can only use Trick once to be effective against Blissey. So let's see how this battle goes. So I'm going to start off my Rotom Cut just to scout out his team a little bit, and it turns out he's going to start out with his Thundurus. Now Thundurus never carries Scarf ever, so I'm going to go for the Volt Switch, outspeed of course, and then Scarf, get a nice bit of damage, and just predicting any Thunderbolt or HP Ice that he's going for here, I am going to bring in my Florges to take it extremely nicely. So I see his Life Orb Recall, he's already at half health just from turn 1, and I also know that he doesn't carry lefties, so it will be a bit easier to take out, especially with Florges being able to wall him pretty easily. Now I know he carries both Blissey and Weezing, so Moonblast isn't going to do too much, so I do switch out to my Rotom, predicting his Blissey so I could hopefully get a Trick off, but that is not going to be the case because for some reason he decides to bring in Weezing, which is physically defensive, and Blissey can take special hits for days, but even then Weezing is a poison type of course. Anyway, I bring in my Heatran, which pretty much walls this Weezing's moveset, I assume, and he does carry the Sludge Wave, which in my opinion I think he should carry Sludge Bomb because he should probably have a higher chance to poison being a defensive variant, I assume. And anyway, I'm also able to get up my Rocks while I have my Heatran, which is going to be pretty nice for residual damage and pretty much finishing off that Thundurus. And he brings in his Blissey on my Lava Plume here. Unfortunately, I don't get the burn. It's probably not a huge deal anyway, since it probably carries Natural Cure. And this Blissey is just going to take all the special hits in the world. And like I said, I need to figure out a way that I can get this Blissey crippled with my Rotom Scarf tricked onto it. But he's going to bring in his Excadrill now. And seeing how he's Balloon, I can definitely assume that we're both offensive. And I'm Scarf, so I'm definitely going to outspeed. I go for the Leaf Storm, and I nearly take him out. It is pretty nice. But he does have Mold Breaker, so of course he can hit me with the EQ. And he almost takes me out, which is quite the problem. I'm going to press Leaf Storm one more time and try to finish him off. He's actually going to bring in his Weavile. And Weavile is certainly not the bulkiest of pokes, and after taking Rocks damage and this Leaf Storm, it's going to be at less than half health. And I am just praying that this thing isn't going to go for the Pursuit right now, which thankfully it doesn't. It actually goes for the Ice Shard, predicting me to go for Leaf Storm once again. And it turns out he's Life Orb, so he's getting some nice damage on him as well from Life Orb Recoil, just like his Thundurus. Anyway, now his Weavile goes for the knockoff on my Heatran, which of course takes away my lefties, but I'm taking that hit pretty nicely because I am physically defensive. I can go for a Lava Plume, easily take out the Weavile from this range. Now he's going to bring in his Excadrill, and it's basically 50-50. He's going to Rapid Spin, or is he going to EQ? Well, I kind of want to take this Excadrill out as soon as possible, so I do go for the Lava Plume, predicting his Rapid Spin. That's not going to be the case, and he's going to be able to take me out. But now I can bring in my Gengar, and I certainly outspeed, and I'm predicting to switch out because I think he values the Rapid Spin to save his Thundurus, but that's apparently not the case because he's going to EQ my sub. So I'm thinking, might as well press Shadow Ball, try to take him out from here, and certainly I will, and he is going to go down. So Rocks are going to stay at the rest of the game, and Thundurus is not going to appreciate that. And speaking of the devil, Thundurus is coming in now, and I'm thinking, at this range, I'm still probably not going to be able to live a Life Orb Thunderbolt. So I also have Florges, so there's no reason for me to stay in. So I'm going to take this T-Wave with my Florges, which is much better than my Gengar, especially since I have Aromatherapy on this Florges. He's actually going to Nasty Plot, possibly predicting my Aromatherapy here, so he can get a nice bit of damage before he goes down. But I just go straight for the Moonblast. I want to take him out, and that threat is now gone. And now my Florges is at full health, which is really awesome, but the problem is he still has his defensive core of Wheezing and Blissey. I just need to figure out how to take this thing out. If I can't cripple Blissey, it's practically over. And now I'm going to bring in my Gengar on his Wheezing, as I really doubt the Wheezing can do anything to me, especially with a Stab Sludge Wave, which I quad resist. I can go for the Shadow Ball here, which for some reason he stays in, which I don't understand, because he takes a lot of damage from that. He has maybe a third left, including Black Sludge Recovery, and he stays in again. He has a Blissey. What is he doing? I asked him afterwards actually, and he said his Blissey can't touch me because it carries Seismic Toss and maybe Toxic, I believe, which of course, yeah, it can't touch my Gengar, so that's understandable, so he can get a free switch in his Gardevoir. But I still have high doubts that Gardevoir is going to appreciate this stab super effective Sludge Bomb coming from my Gengar. I mean, look at it, it just died. So it's really just the principle of the fact that I know that Blissey is technically a counter to Gengar because Blissey walls me for days and I just can't do anything. Like, look at this, I switch out and I do go into my Kyurem practically as death fodder, and you'll see why exactly. Yes, he's going to go for the Soft Boil. I do carry Focus Blast on my Gengar, but I believe I only have 6 PP on it. Yes, I put 1 PP investment in it, but unless I get 6 special defense drops, I doubt I'm going to have any chance of taking out that Blissey with these Focus Blasts. So yeah, I do bring in my Kyurem, and I am Specs, and so I'm going to press Ice Beam and just hope that I can get a nice bit of damage. That is Specs Ice Beam coming your way. And Blissey's just taking that pretty nicely. It's maybe a quarter of damage, which is somewhat alright. I mean, I'm modest, so it shows the power of Kyurem, especially on a Blissey, but even then, Blissey can just press Soft Boil and it's just not good for me. And so I'm poisoned, he keeps Seismic Tossing me, and my Kyurem is just going to go down eventually. And here's something kind of interesting. He didn't realize until I told him that I have all special attackers and he has a Blissey. So he didn't realize that his Blissey was his key to winning. So after I die here, I do bring in my Rotom Cut now to successfully get this trick off, finally, to cripple this Blissey severely. Because now it's Scarfed, it's going to be locked in either Seismic Toss or Soft Boiled, and in this case it's Soft Boiled. And so he's going to recover up every turn, but I have more than one poke, so there is very little chance that he's going to PP stall me with being locked into one move. So I'm going to Volt Switch here, and I am going to go out to my Starmie because I just want to see how much a Psyshock does. It hits his physical defense side, but you know, Blissey has a ridiculous amount of HP. And look at that, that's a crit, and that did a little over half. And he keeps pressing Soft Boil because of course he's locked into it. But that just goes to show, Psyshock maybe does 40% neutral, and that's Life Orb. So I'm going to die faster than this Blissey probably will because it's going to keep pressing Soft Boil. But eventually he is going to run because he knows this is futile, because all it's going to be is a struggle war eventually from this Blissey. And Blissey has like what, base 10, base 5 attack? It's not exactly going to hurt my run, especially since I have leftovers now. But yeah, it's going to be a couple more turns before he decides to throw in the towel, and this just goes to show that this team really does struggle against Blissey, and I just had to be very careful in incorporating this trick strategy to actually work. But I was able to do it, and that was a great game, Gaaraotd23. So thank you all for watching. Like, comment, sub, and until later, peace.